Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Corellian tradition and soon to be homeland of Gaia Thrift. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. Welcome. And I want to say hello to Proxones in the chat room and hello to everyone. And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can type your comments or questions into the chat room and we can talk about it directly, which I quite enjoy about this program. You can't really tell because I'm using my green screen, but I've drastically changed my office in the last 24 hours. So my lighting is a little different. My headphone is on the other side of my head, and it's a little bit of a different setup. I'm hoping it doesn't make any difference to our sound quality. If you do notice a difference, please let me know. I hope you're having a lovely Thursday. Yesterday, our guest was Chris Copeland, and we were talking about the new things at Corellian Publishing, particularly Reverend Don's Book of Numerology. And today, I'm going to talk about the coming opening of Gaia Thrift. And Gaia Thrift will be opening on June 11th, which I believe is next Tuesday. Hello to Black Crystal in the chat room. We will be broadcasting live from the location, hello to New Ben, of Gaia Thrift from 4 p.m. Central till 8 p.m. Central as the store opening and my 61st birthday party. And I have a video for you. Yesterday, I got the keys, and I have a video of my first entry into the shop as it now stands. Now, of course, I've been working in this shop for quite a while, almost a year now, probably a little more than a year, as Earth Spirit Emporium, and before that, Willows and Moon. But now it's going to become Gaia Thrift, and here is our video. Hello, this is Reverend Don Woods, and I'm here in downtown Danville at the future site of Gaia Thrift. I got the keys today, and I thought I would introduce you to the shop. You can see here on the door, we have the We Are Moving sign for Earth Spirit Emporium, which has moved, and we are moving in. There we go. It's my first time opening the door. Now I know which way to turn the key. This is the shop. And you can see it's empty right now. There's nothing here yet. But this is all going to be goods for thrifting. Clothing, books, etc. And you can see it's a nice large space. And in back we have room for offices and the like. And we're going to have a great time here. And we'll certainly be bringing you much more information as we develop the shop. And I hope that you will join us for this adventure. It's going to be an adventure and it's going to be fun. And before anything else, I want to take that sign down and put up our new sign. And of course, we wish lots of good fortune to Earth Spirit Emporium. And if you could hand me my envelope. I'm going to put up this sign saying that we are coming. We'll be opening on June 11th, and I invite you to join us on that day. And probably for more as we set up. And the alicorn has now taken possession of the building. Thank you, Alipore. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. And yes, that has totally screwed up the camera angle, but what are we going to do? So you can see a little bit around the green screen. I totally don't understand. Okay, that didn't help either. But anyway, continuing on. We want to say hello to Erna Nama. We want to say hello to Renee. We want to say hello to Antonio. And Black Crystal says that June 15th will be their 62nd birthday. So they were born 1 year and a couple of days after me. And yeah, it's definitely Gemini season. And like I say, you can see a little bit of the office behind me. I don't usually show the actual office. I usually keep the green screen behind me. But I might start showing it. It's perfectly presentable. But I like my green screens. They give me my nice little wood paneling effect. So yeah, on June 11th, we will be broadcasting live. And hello to Mary Cavalcante in the chat room, and hello to Janet in the chat room. And I have no idea. Yeah, that is not helping. It totally, I totally do not understand why the view changed. But anyway, it's not really important. But on the 11th from 4 till 8 Central Time, we will be broadcasting live from the shop, but we may already be doing some things before then. And we are looking at a new show called Don's Closet, or Reverend Don's Closet, or something to that effect. And we will be doing the first episode next week, possibly airing on Monday, possibly airing on later in the week. But we're going to be doing that regularly. We'll be talking about things that we're going to have at Gaia Thrift, as well as, personal aspects of fashion ideas and ways to work with color and style, and also energy. One of the things that we're going to talk about is when you get something that's been previously owned, do you want to do anything with it energetically? Do you want to do an energetic cleansing on it? Do you feel that's necessary? And if you do, how do you do it? And that will be probably the subject of our first Reverend Don's Closet. And I'm curious to know what people's opinions on that are. I'm probably going to speak to several different opinions on it. I did a vlog about this years ago. And, it's always good, I think, to cleanse an item, even if it's not necessarily pre-owned, if it has other energies on it. But how do you want to do that? What is the preferable way to do that? And the answer is there are many, and we'll talk about them. And Erna Nama says, get a gold ring or straight razor for yourself for your birthday. I'm not certain if that's for me or Black Crystal, but yeah, I'm getting Gaia Thrift for my birthday. Janet says, I have a Fibber McGee closet. And that's kind of what Gaia Thrift is going to be. It's going to be the room of requirement, the place where you can get what you need. And we're hoping to have a very good selection from the first day. We're hoping to have good items, but at very good prices. And hello to Ed the Pagan in the chat room who says, good question, referring to the cleansing of items. And whenever we do ritual, what is the first thing we do? We start by cleansing our space. And this is a thing, and it has greater importance to some than to others, and many different ways of doing it. So join me for that program to discuss that subject. Now, um, if you're in downtown Danville, you can see the alicorn on the building now. Proxone says, "Are you opening a magical shop?" No, it's a thrift store. Um, that's not to say we may not carry some magical items. Arguably, it has a pagan flair to it, maybe a bit of a pagan flavor to it, particularly online, and it is going to be online as well as in person. Um, but it's not a magical shop per se. And Erna Nama says, there were these kids who wouldn't stop playing with a knife in my metaphysical store. And yeah, there are always going to be times when there are people who just are not cognizant of their whereabouts. And in this shop where we're opening Gaia Thrift, there was formerly Willow and Moon and Earth Spirit Emporium, and both of those stores still exist. So if you're looking for metaphysical items in this area, um, I would recommend either one of those. And we'll be working with them and other metaphysical shops. And if you're looking for metaphysical things, like I say, we may be carrying some of that. But our primary thing is to be a source of clothing and other interesting items for thrifting purposes. And part of the attitude is that this is both about being able to supply things that people need, because everyone needs clothing, at a good price, because these are times when good prices are important, but also it's about nature and the world, about reusing these things that are still in good shape rather than throwing them out. Um, we may very well have ritual robes available. We may have other items available. Um, and I'm sure that if you're looking for them, we can find them. Erna Nama says, I'd buy some soap online since I'm in Texas. Well, we are going to be doing things online. We are not just looking to sell locally, but anywhere you can order online. And we are also looking at having, for want of a better way to put it, personal shoppers available to help people find what they may be in need of. And Renee in the chat room says, I need a ritual robe. And chances are we could set you up with that. Um, we already have people telling us things they're specifically looking for, and we have an eye out for them. One of the things that's important to the future of this is that we have some very good suppliers, and we have access to a very wide range of potential things. We're not going to have all of them on the first day. As I said in the video, it's going to be an adventure. We're going to open up with a nice start, but over coming weeks, you'll see us bringing in much more and really building up the space. That's the intention. As you see in the video, it's currently just a couple of big empty rooms. And I think, however, they're going to be filled relatively quickly. And hopefully, they'll be constantly turning over because, again, we all need clothing. We all need other items we may be carrying. We're looking at carrying, for example, children and babies' clothes. We're looking at probably carrying books and other interesting things. Hello to Janet in the chat room. It's good to see you, Janet. We're looking at carrying many different things. And if you watch, both here at Midday and also in our other broadcast, you'll watch us build this up. And It is going to be an adventure. And quite specifically use the term adventure to describe it because that's pretty much what I expect it's going to be. And um, hopefully you will join us for that and you'll find it interesting. And Vivian says, I'm behind. I need a ritual robe too, but I'm kind of picky. I would like to have a custom made or close to what I'm looking for, like no long sleeves, natural fabric, etc. And and Vivian then says, "It sounds like an adventure for sure. It will be an adventure." And Edward says, "I love uh, Ray designers." I'm assuming that refers to recycled designer clothing, which is something that we will be able to be having. One of the things that I have always enjoyed about thrifting. I learned to thrift in Chicago. We were talking about it the other day when Ed was our guest. Um, I'm not sure if it was on this program or another one, but we were talking about how years ago, um, he had taught me about thrifting. I certainly did not grow up understanding the concept of thrifting, partly because here in Danville we didn't really have a lot in that line. But in Chicago, I found that you can thrift the most exquisite items. I got wonderful suits that would have been very difficult to get new in my size or in the kind of designs I was finding. But when someone gets rid of an old suit, what do they do with it? They either throw it out or they donate it somewhere. Um, Women's formal dresses you can thrift in major metropolitan areas, but it's a lot harder to find them here, but not for long because we'll be able to carry that sort of thing too. Um, Nice clothes that were originally quite high end and are still very nice. That's the kind of thing that thrifting offers at basically rummage sale prices. And um, it's really a very useful thing for people as well as good for the earth because, taking all of these things and putting them in landfills is not what we really want to be doing. Sometimes we have no choice, but it's not what we want to be doing. It's like I was saying on some earlier broadcast, when I lost so much weight last year, my entire wardrobe no longer fit me within a period of about 2 months. Um, and so I ended up donating to the local thrift store all of those different suits. I want to say there were nearly 20 of them. All of those different dress shirts that no longer had any use for me because I could no longer wear those sizes, cannot wear them now. And, for larger sized men in that area who knew to go to thrift stores, it was a wonderful day. Um, and Janet says, one time as I was shopping in a thrift store, I came across a candle plate. The lady next to me thought it was a very thick plate. I laughed, but did not explain what it was. You can find all kinds of things in thrift stores. And Erna says I went from 180 to 130 a couple of months ago. And congratulations. I'm sure that that feels very good. And Proxones says there was a great discussion about making money with magic and if it was morally okay to do so. Um, but I find it quite good that magicians earn their daily needs with what is unique to them. I am certainly a believer that magic is only worth what you can do with it. And I certainly believe it's perfectly appropriate to use magic for prosperity. I think it would be ridiculous to think that you couldn't. And I don't know, as a pagan, I don't know where you'd come up with the idea that you shouldn't. In Christianity, they have this idea that the love of money is the root of all evil, but that's Christianity. Um, Historically, magicians have usually been quite willing to do prosperity spells and the like, so I see nothing wrong with it. Vivian says, well, Edward says lots of ritual items, and yes, we'll probably be carrying lots of ritual items. Vivian says, I bought my son for his spring band concert this year at a thrift store for $10. A shirt, tie, jacket, extremely nice suit. I was shocked Um, and he was a sharp-dressed man that night. And yes, you can do that sometimes for just that little bit of money. Um, and Janet says, yes, but they still pass the basket weekly, referring to those who supposedly believe that money is the source of all evil. But we have no such teaching, at least not in the paganism I come from. And and Edward says, I meant in thrift we've bought ritual items. Yes, we have. I have gotten some beautiful things at thrift stores. Years ago, when I was filming the lessons, I bought all kinds of altar furniture at thrift stores. Certainly not all of it, but many things, because you can usually find candle holders. You can find pieces that might be suitable as altar figurines. You can find altar decorations and use them in ways they may never have been meant for, but they'll still be very useful for your practice. And I find that to be one of the nice things about thrifting, that it doesn't really matter what it was originally intended for. It's what you need it for. And to me, talking about magic and prosperity, magic's for what you need it for. Um, and Erna says you should sell some pagan movies. Um, they make them, but no one knows about them. Well, you never know. Maybe in future years we'll consider doing that. Um, and Proxone says maybe it's only where I live, or maybe it's only a topic to me and similar people. No, it's a frequent topic. I just don't understand why, because it doesn't come from any traditional pagan teaching, but is adopted out of Christianity. But a lot of things have kind of crept in that way. Um, and I have nothing um, against adopting whatever works for you, but this is one of those things that doesn't work. One of the things we've been talking about, Edward and myself and other people that I know for 30 odd years, is the idea of pagan poverty consciousness, which I think is rooted in that idea that it's somehow more virtuous to be poor than not. And this certainly is not anything that comes out of any kind of traditional paganism. Prosperity was always um, as as important to pagans as to anyone, and it is not something that we have any business frowning on. And yet, I certainly see it happen a lot, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think if you come from the point of view that money corrupts everything, you might really want to stop and think about what you're programming into the universe and how you're looking at it. Because the truth is, without it, you're not going to be eating. And at the very least, you need to have enough prosperity to be able to live. And if your magic cannot help you to live, what are you doing with it? I love to say, if your magic isn't going to help you when your car is speeding off the road, um, due to ice or other inclement conditions, or due to a car accident, why have you bothered to study it? That's the moment when you need it, not 5 years from now when the stars perfectly align for something. And magic needs to be helpful to us in our daily lives, or it's pretty worthless, really. And yes, of course, it's for self-development, it's for spiritual growth and all of that. Absolutely. That's useful to us in our daily lives. But, it's also for practical things. And if you're thinking, as some people in the magical community do, that magic is only ever for spiritual things, then you're accepting more of a Christian worldview, where the body and the soul are at odds. Whereas, at least from the paganism I come from, the body and the soul are partners. And you want to take good care of your body. You want to make sure you have prosperity. You want to make sure that you can live. And Erna says, to me, magic is the showness of love. And that's that's wonderful. Um, and Proxone says, I think it's because that would be the best to all of us of all products would be available without paying for it. But since the world is like it is, we have no other way than earn money. Well, how on earth would anything ever be available to you without paying for it one way or another? Virtually anything you're going to use has to be made by someone. Unless they're your slave, in which case you still have to feed them, they're not doing it for nothing. They shouldn't be. They also have to feed themselves. So whether it's producing your food, producing your clothing, or whatever, it needs to be paid for some way or another, or they should simply be producing it for themselves. It's not their responsibility to produce for everyone for free. And I am not sympathetic with the idea, even in spirituality, that people should give everything away for free. I've done too much of that in my own life and come to regret it. Um, I think that I think that work is worth its wage. I don't think that you should be gouging people, but but you need to be considering your own life. Unless you want to end up having done everything for everyone else, um, and having nothing left for yourself. The idea that you can get anything without paying for it is really just not true. And it's not a matter of how the world works, it's because all these things are made. You pay for it with the work of making it, if nothing else. Um, it's like food. You can grow food in your garden and perhaps save the seeds from year to year. And the only thing you might have to pay for might be those original seeds, and you can just continually grow it after that and make it yourself. And there won't be a lot of cost to that except for your time. And the question is, do you have the time to do it? Do you have the land to do it? But if you want to go out to someone else's place and have them make food for you, um, as a dinner, particularly when you're going to return at some later point in time, that's one thing. But as a business, it's not their business to feed you. They shouldn't be gouging you, but you know, we money is simply a matter of exchange when you don't have any kind of work you can do for it. We used to use barter, but the problem with barter is that very often, particularly in our current society, you're not going to have anything you could barter for the things that are of value. Because the person who is offering them probably isn't going to have anything you could just step in and do. Or if they did, one person would be enough to get it done. Um, now, and Janet points out gardens usually need more water than rain provides, and water costs money too. Well, yes, it does. There's a water bill at this address every month. Um, and Proxone says, there's also the question, do you enjoy growing your own food for yourself or others? Not everybody does. I'm not a gardener. Now, and hello to Donna in the chat room. Donna Geode Andrews, who says, I've always strived for balance. If I ask for a sunny day, then I'm happy with the rainy day that follows the sunshine. Absolutely. And, personally, I try to find beauty in every day. And Proxone says it's true um, that anything will have its price. I was actually having this conversation the other day, and I had remarked on how beautiful the clouds were. But no matter what the weather, and hello to Nikki in the chat room, I always look for whatever is beautiful in that day. And I once annoyed a former romantic partner slightly because it was an overcast winter day, but the clouds were glorious. And I pointed out how beautiful the sky was, and she just couldn't see it. Um, Now, and hello to George in the chat room who says, I spent a couple of hours in my garden this morning, and I can't wait to see those homegrown tomatoes. And yes, absolutely. And some people love gardening, but it's a rare person who's going to be self-sufficient on gardening. One of the things that and we're at the end of our half hour, but I'm going to go ahead and add this. One of the things I remember reading that was very made a deep impression is that in Egypt, the peasants of the Middle Ages had a wider range of food available to them than the pharaohs of antiquity. And if we look at the amount of food that we have available to us today, we could never grow it in our gardens. Our trade system is extraordinary, and yes, it's wonderful to grow some of our own, and it certainly is helpful in difficult economic times. Um, but I'd hate to be solely dependent on that personally. And as Proxone has remarked, everything in life does have a certain price, even if the price is just the working to create it. And, I'm happy to pay the price. With that, we've come to the end of our half hour. I want to thank you for joining me. And tomorrow, we will have our weekly wrap up of interesting stories from the week. And I'll probably be mentioning this one again because for me, it's the most interesting story. And And Proxone says, somehow I might be an idealist, but I love the idea of Captain Picard that in the 24th century, people only work to better themselves and the rest of humanity. Yes, but that requires a technology we don't have, which creates the food out of the natural elements of being. And therefore, no one actually needs to grow food. No one actually really seems to need to do anything, and that would be great when we get there. But right now, we're a lot closer to Harry Potter, where that fabulous feast is spread out before all the wizards in the banquet hall, but downstairs the elves are slaving to create it, and nobody is seeing them. And I'm afraid in that I agree with Hermione. The elves deserve to be treated better, and they deserve their freedom. And that means you have to pay for your feast. But with that, I want to thank you for joining me and let us close with our prayer, as we always do. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we ask you to continue to be with us and guide us as we go forward, and help us to have the things we need in our life and to find the things we want in our lives in the best way that we can, whether they're magical or physical or otherwise. And whatever the price that the things we desire requires of us, let us pay it joyfully and let it be a good and joyful price. And as we go forward with Gaia Thrift, we ask for a happy and adventurous road with many good returns. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you with great love and thanks. We know you are always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence. May you be blessed now and always. And I thank you for your presence. May you be blessed now and always. And I'll see you tomorrow. And until then,